All right. So, welcome to Practical Independence Podcast Show. I am your host, Jermaine. Today we got a guest, our first guest, technically. It might not be in that order, but technically he our first guest. So, I know most people like to introduce, say all these accolades about guests and things that come on their show. So, he a good dude. That's all I can say. Tashawn Perales, he a good dude. I've known this guy for quite a minute now, but I'm gonna kind of let him tell us a little bit about who he is, and we're gonna start with that first. Kind of tell like who you are, age, a little bit about your family and things of that nature.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, cool. Well, my name is Tashawn Perales, as Mr. Jermaine said earlier. I met him probably about almost 6 years ago, since I was about.
This
15,
dude is still
16?
Mr. Jermaine, man. That's crazy. But go ahead, 15, 16.
Around 15, 16, and I'm now 22.
Wow.
And I have 2 kids of my own.
Yeah.
And I'm also getting ready to get married pretty soon.
Cool. Crazy, man. How time flies, man.
Yes, sir.
Dude, I remember when I met you, you was literally a kid. Like, literally a kid. You still are in my eyes, but but anyway, let's get into it. So tell us a little bit about, your upbringing. I know a lot more details. I want you to be, comfortable with the details that you share. Tell us a little bit about your childhood and things of that nature.
Okay, so growing up, kind of as a kid, my mom was a teenage mom. She had me at 17, and she wasn't from South Carolina in particular. She was from New York City, and she kind of had a rough upbringing as well. But just kind of growing up as a kid, it was me and her up until I was about 6 years old or so.
Wow.
And then, the rest of my siblings kind of came in. I have a total of 3 siblings on my mom's side, and on my dad's side, I have about 5 siblings. So
really, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yes, sir. So obviously, like my mom and dad, they weren't together. They had some issues. I wasn't 100% clear on their problems growing up as a kid. But one thing I will say is my dad really wasn't involved. He wasn't in my life, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. Mm-hmm. And I knew who my dad was, but I never really had a conversation with him.
Gotcha.
About things that we like. Like I couldn't tell him. I couldn't tell you anything about him that he likes, like his favorite sports team, or his favorite color or his favorite food. I could tell you a list of things. I know that you like because we've bonded and talked about those things. But that was challenging growing up as a kid, and I never really felt like I had an outlet to express myself.
Right.
My mom, she tried the best that she could, and with some of the things that she was challenged with growing up as a kid and things that she went through, she didn't really make some of the best decisions or choices, raising us. I will say that she's, starting to try to change and just get more understanding and knowledge on certain things that affected us as kids growing up.
Wow.
Some of those things, just was just seeing stuff that I probably shouldn't have seen, when it came to verbal abuse, sometimes physical abuse.
Right.
And then kind of growing up and going into that teenage stage of my life, I knew right from wrong, and some of the stuff that was being displayed to me in front of me at that age was wrong. Right. So me being, a mama's boy, me being the oldest, I thought it was my job to try to protect my mom,
Right.
And doing that kind of cost us some things, and kind of affected me in some ways that, a kid probably shouldn't have been affected, with or in. But I kind of went into the foster care system. I was there for about a year or so because of some things that happened in my childhood. It was a lot, some of the stuff that I was faced with resulted in, a lot of good things, but it was because I pursued it in that way. And what I mean by that is a lot of the things that I was being exposed to, I could have went a different route.
Right.
I could have chose a different path. But I used a lot of the hardships and a lot of the things that kind of discouraged me as positivity to kind of go out there and grind and just use that anger, that hurt, that emotion for something positive. Right. You know, and that resulted in me joining student council as a kid or as a teenager going into high school. And it also resulted in me taking my education a little more serious. Right. And what I mean by that is when I was in first grade, I was held back for my reading.
Really?
And
I didn't know that. Man, I'm learning stuff today too. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I was held back for my reading. And I was always kind of bullied and picked on as a kid because of my size.
Got you.
Like, I'm 365 pounds.
Wow.
You know, and I've always, I've always been, you know, bigger on the bigger side. So people would look at me in my class and just be like, dang, is he even supposed to be here?
Wow.
You know, so I kind of dealt with that insecurity growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
But something that I will say, and resulting back to what I was saying earlier about some positives coming out of that negative, is when I was in foster care, my foster mom made it a priority for me to be put in my right grade.
Wow.
Now, that came with a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication.
Right.
And some of that hard work and dedication was literally me completing the 7th and the 8th grade in 1 year.
Wow. Wow.
And it was straight A's. It was a lot of studying. And it also took a lot of people that just believed in me.
Awesome.
You know?
Awesome.
And those people, you know, were teachers and, you know, obviously social workers and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But I just thought it was amazing to see how, you know, a negative situation put me here.
Right.
But I was able to gain or earn something positive out of it.
Right.
You know, which was me getting into my right grade.
Right. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow. That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And it's just, it's so much. Yeah. It's so much we can talk about. So many different areas and points that we could touch on. Right. But yeah, that was some of my childhood growing up.
Okay.
And you know, I also grew up kind of with my auntie.
Yep.
I was with her throughout high school, my sophomore year through senior year. Yeah. And she really taught me that, you know, that I was anointed and that, you know, I have power within myself to speak good things into my life.
Wow.
You know, and at that time, you know, when I went and lived back with her, I had experienced more things and encountered more issues and situations with my mom. Right. You know, and it was at a time, or it was a point during that time where I actually, like, despited my mom. I didn't want anything to do with her. Yeah. You know, I wanted to change my last name.
Wow.
You know, it got to that point. But she made me realize, you know, because of some of the things she may have went through, she may have not understood, you know, certain things that y'all went through. Right. Wow. You know, so I owe a lot to that lady.
Yeah, man, know? That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
That's a lot. So I mean, even with all of that, you know, I hear. I mean, you know, and of course, I know a little bit more details. What really made you choose the positive though? Because a lot of people who go through some of those challenges will be like, man, I'm about to hit the street. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take my pain out on someone else. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes when we have that pain within us, we just want to express it somehow. And usually that pain is expressed, you know, from a negative standpoint. So what did Tashawn do, or what happened, or what helped cause you to be so positive? Because, you know, because you were talking about student council. And I know, and I've always known you. So leadership was always a big thing, and influencing others. So what helped you choose the positive path versus the negative path?
Well, I think first off, I feel like it was just a gift.
Got you.
You know, I feel like we're all born with gifts and talents.
Right.
You know, and I really felt like in that point in time in my life, I was tapping into my gift.
Wow.
I was starting to really learn what my gift was, and I felt like God chose me, you know, on purpose.
Gotcha.
You know, I feel like, you know, it was for a reason.
Right.
You know, let me, you know, take a person that's dealing with these issues, that's been faced with a lot of negativity and some hard times.
Wow.
And show how we can convert, or how we can change him into someone to go and motivate or encourage others.
Wow.
You know, so for me, it was like I was always told I was the issue.
Okay.
You know, I was the problem growing up as a kid.
Wow.
Things happened because of, you know, me not staying in the kid's place, or me always, you know, wanting to be nosy in a sense, as they would say. But I looked at it from a different perspective, and I was like, well, if I'm the problem, you know, I'm going to stay involved. I'm going to stay away from the house as much as possible. You know, and some of those things, just to get a little more personal, you know, I experienced the police being called on me, you know, multiple times.
Wow.
You know, every police officer in the town of Irmo knows, you know, me.
Wow.
They know who I am, and they'll look back at that kid that I was, and they'll look at me today, because some of them I still keep in contact with.
Wow.
And they'll just be like, wow, you know, this is amazing. You know, that you're out here helping people, you're out here, you know, leading people, and, you know, making a change in society instead of choosing the easy way out.
Right.
You know, and I just feel like for me, it was just a God-given gift and talent, but also to be a light to other people that may be in foster care, that may have tougher situations, you know, or been through something more than I have. You know, let them know, like, hey, it's not the end. You know, if you going through something at home, if you're dealing with verbal or physical abuse, if you don't have somebody to talk to, you fill your head up with stuff that's positive. You know, and a part of escaping that for me was, I'm going to go play football. I'm going to go join student council. I'm going to go and try to become a host for the school pep rallies. You know, I'm going to try to go to the top. I'm going to be on committees and talk about gun safety and school shootings, and, you know, meet with the district and try to figure out how we're going to get to the bottom of these problems. And it was like people came to me, you know, and that's how I feel like it's really a God-given gift or talent. You know, these people came to me, not knowing my situation, not knowing my story. You know, just giving a little more insight on high school. Like, I've been to Washington, D.C. twice.
Okay.
You know?
I did. Yeah, I remember.
You know, Washington, D.C. always was intimidating because I never really understood politics, and I knew it was a crazy city for that. You know. And then a kid like me, I'm like, man, I don't belong, you know, in Washington, D.C. You know, what's in Washington, D.C. for me? And just having, you know, my abilities and my characteristics kind of show what kind of person I am. You know, I had to apply to, you know, be nominated to be a part of a group which was called Building Bridges. Which was like another program that I kind of put myself in. You know, to exclude some of the things that I was challenged with as a kid. But Building Bridges Leadership Institute was the name of it. And it made up the 5 high schools in Lexington, Richland 5. And they literally chose 4 students from each high school, out of thousands, to be a part of this program.
That's crazy.
You know, and nothing qualified me. None of my credentials, you know, made me, you know, feasible to even be a part of that group.
Gotcha.
You know, that's why I felt like, you know, these people came to me. It's a God-given gift.
And they probably, and I'm sure they saw it. Yeah, they saw it on you, because you know, most, like I would say, most people would think someone that goes through that would choose negative, and when you're not choosing the negative and you still walking around with a smile on your face, you're gonna look different. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so, but yeah, so we're gonna fast forward it a little bit. So high school. So let's just maybe between your high school and, you know, college or a little older, whatever, however you choose, whatever hit best for you. So even with like social media being what it is, music being what it is, how does a young adult or a older teenager stay patient or stay content or not get frustrated or not desire to move too fast because of the certain things that they may see or may even experience with the music or whatever? What kept you grounded? Like what, or were you grounded, or was that a challenge you had? I mean, I don't know. You tell me. You tell us.
I mean, relating to that question, I feel like, everybody struggles with, social media and just, seeing how people present themselves. Mm-hmm. And like you said, the music aspect as well. I think for me, I was challenged with all of those things.
Right.
I'm still challenged sometimes with those things, but I learned that patience is key, and mm-hmm. being humbled is really what keeps me grounded. Wow. So there's been times where, like, as a kid, all my parents and people older than me, they used to tell me, stay in the kids' place. Yeah. And, you trying to grow up too fast, this, that, and the third. But I felt like, in a sense, I had to kind of grow up fast because of my situation and the circumstances that I was faced with. And, I never really understood everything that came with it. And I think that may have resulted in why I'm so positive and why I try to shine light on other young people, because it's like nobody is talking to the young generation or younger people about social media and how music can influence you, and how it can kind of knock you off of, your place where you belong. Right. Like in high school, for instance, we're at a point in our life where I feel like high school counselors and stuff, mm-hmm. they're trying to get you for they're trying to get you ready for college. Right. But rarely do high schools teach, you about money management, about saving, about credit, mm-hmm. about building a house, or building, credit, or saving money, about trying to obtain a house, in the future. They just always talk about college, and
that's true.
College is not everybody's path.
It's not. It's not. Yeah.
And for those people that were faced with making a decision to either go to college or, go get a trade, or go mm-hmm. to, go get a certificate, or whatever the case may be. Right. I feel like they're looked down upon.
Yeah. I think that's true.
Because it's like, man, I didn't go to school, or I may have had this situation come up, and I'm not able to go to school, because of this, or because of some sacrifices that I may have to make. And it's like, I'm impatient now. I'm mm-hmm. hungry for what's out there, and I just learned that being patient is key, but setting yourself up, for success, mm-hmm. and setting yourself up, the right way while you're being patient is also key. Right.
Talking about the college thing, I know I personally went to school because I didn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? And so, of course, I went to a private school, which was, it's a whole different ball game. A lot more money spent, a lot more student loans, all that good stuff. And I partied out, man. And while I was there, I was still trying to figure myself out, and like trying to figure out where I was headed to next. So that's why, I mean, you're absolutely right. College is not for everybody. Not hating on people that that do. I mean, my brother, he's a awesome principal, awesome administrator of school, and so he need to be educated. You know what I'm saying? But me, it wasn't for me. But one thing I can say, I learned a lot. I met a lot of great people, and I did grow up eventually. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let's take a little break.
All right. Yes, sir. About college not really being for everybody. Yes, sir.
Anything specific that you kind of want to hit on? I mean,
I know I kind of want to talk about, me going to college for a little bit.
Okay.
And then, obviously having a kid.
Yeah, okay.
Making that sacrifice. Coming home, and the first place I went was my mama's house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Just talking about that, and then talking about like how, I was faced with a lot of like, unknowns.
Okay.
I didn't know, a lot about what I was going to do, how I was going to do it, and just talk about kind of about the planning that we did in between.
Gotcha.
Talk about how me and Destiny, we had to kind of, in a sense, mature.
Gotcha.
And make decisions that would benefit not just us, but
Gotcha.
the three of us as a whole.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, here we go. All right, so speaking of college, what was your experiences, with college? Because I know you did go as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I actually attended Coastal Carolina University for about a year and a half.
Okay.
My freshman year went well. It was kind of during like the time of COVID, so it was a lot of unknowns in that area as well.
Yeah.
So I think it was challenging, just because we were online. We weren't in person.
Right.
So it kind of took some time to adjust, but
yeah,
I enjoyed college.
Okay.
I think that it was a great experience.
I don't know too many people that be like, college is boring. I hate it. Parties suck.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, like, I enjoyed being by the beach, obviously. If y'all know about, Coastal, it's right about maybe 10 miles from Myrtle Beach.
Wow.
And it's just,
crazy.
It's beautiful, dog. It's, you can go out there when you just want a fresh air, fresh breath of air, and you can go and just look at the ocean and glance at some of your problems and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the reason I stopped going to college, or the reason I kind of took some time off, or whatever the case you may want to say, is because during the summer of my freshman year, when I came home, I met my fiance, Destiny. And we actually ended up having a kid.
Okay.
Our daughter. She's 2 years old now.
Wow.
And she's growing up, man.
Dude, I seen a picture of her on Facebook the other day. I was like, this is crazy, right?
Yeah.
She's like a girl, not even a baby, like a girl,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
Oh no, you good, boss. Yes, sir. But so we ended up having my daughter. And like I said, I was home during the summer, during that time. And it was
okay. Hold on, I'm gonna pause you right there.
Okay.
So you went to school. School didn't work out. Y'all had a kid, and so now you headed back home. What was your thought process during that time? Being knowing that you've always, because I know you've always, been positive. You always worked. Leadership was always a big thing for you. What was your thinking like during that transition time from leaving school and now y'all about to have a kid?
It was scary.
Yeah.
It was tough. I ain't gonna lie, a few times the thought crossed my mind of just running away.
Yeah.
And never looking back.
Yeah.
Because it was something that I had never experienced. It was uncomfortable. But, I noticed, and it took time for me to understand that, this is my responsibility. This is my life, and I made it, possible for me to be able to do everything in my power to make sure that I could support my family. And I had a even stronger wanting of, wanting to do that because I didn't receive that as a kid growing up, my dad not being present. So I always wanted to make sure that I was present in my, daughter's life and be there in any way, shape, or form. Not only for her, but also for my, fiance, because I actually do love her, and, that is a family dynamic that I hope to build upon, So it was tough. I didn't know what I was going to do as far as, where I was going to stay, what kind of job I was going to get, who was going to help me. And the first thing I did was run home to mama.
Yeah. Okay, before we get to going home,
all right.
I feel a nudge, I feel a tug here. So okay, so y'all had a child. So you said that, now that this child is now coming into the world, you love school, things were hard. And you said that there were thoughts in your mind of just running away, which I think is a natural thought. When things are hard, it's fight or flight. Fight or flight. So, and this might be a tough one, but it might not just be. I know it's not just for you. So, in that time that you were having those thoughts of should I stay or should I run? Did it make you compare yourself to your dad or give you thoughts? Okay, an even tougher question here. Do you think that put you in a place of understanding of his thinking, possibly? I know it's a tough one.
Yeah. I mean, from that aspect, yes.
Got you.
To a certain degree.
Got you.
But wanting to be different than him was the right thing to do, and awesome. That was the primary goal.
Got you.
So I looked at that being more, sufficient than taking the easy route out. And I feel like in a sense he may have taken the easy route out.
Yeah.
I feel like it's okay to have those thoughts, but your actions really determine, which kind of person you're going to be. Are you going to be the person that run, or are you going to be the person that stay and step up to the plate and take care of your responsibility? Right.
Because I definitely know, I know your character. I know that you're a great father, great provider for your family and things of that nature. So, I guess I wanted to kind of put that out there to, sometimes give people more understanding of dad running. I'm not a running daddy, so I don't want to sound like I'm defending running daddies. But I guess, at the same time, even if, for daddies out there that even if they do run, at least try to come back. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. At least try to come back. So not judging, I'm not trying to put judgment on anybody. I just kind of wanted to put that out there because I just kind of felt the nudge because I think for maybe for you or maybe for someone that may even be watching or listening, that would be a good forgiving point. You know what I'm saying? Because you can almost understand. Because I ain't gonna lie, I've had those thoughts. Absolutely. Just I've had those thoughts, but I chose to stay and fight, and as did you, and I definitely think that's the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
So, okay, now let's get to Mama House. So right. All the challenges that you dealt with in your childhood and dealt with, coming up, and now we back at Mama House.
Yeah.
What? Let's talk about that.
So just to be clear, like I went from auntie house
right
to college,
right,
and then knowing that we were expecting a child and not being able to go back to auntie house, so going back to mama house, and it's like, wow, I'm putting myself back into, maybe potentially putting myself back into an environment that I know for a fact that I wouldn't want my kid to experience or go through. It was challenging, man. During that whole process, I was dealing with a lot of emotions. Obviously, one being able to save, not knowing nothing about credit.
Wow.
Not knowing how I was going to get a place before my child was born, make sure that my girlfriend at the time was, happy and satisfied, and just being able to provide. Like it was new to me.
Gotcha.
Something my mom always told me was, there's no handbook to parenting, and it's legit.
Yeah,
but
it's legit.
Also, there's no handbook on life.
It ain't. Yeah.
Period.
Got
so
you.
even taking the kid out of the equation, you know, we run back to mama, or we run back to what's familiar because we feel like we're safe. There's a safety net.
Yeah.
You know, but what took me back to her was, you know, I couldn't go back to my auntie house with my pregnant girlfriend.
Right. Got you. Yeah.
And my mom, she was a little more understanding, you know, but I noticed that she wasn't trying to let me leave.
Got you.
You know, and
wasn't trying to let you leave. When talking about to get a place?
To get a place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She wasn't really trying to let me leave. And I feel like sometimes, depending upon the circumstances and situations, parents may tend to throw up guards or, you know, shields to prevent you from going out into the real world.
Man, we gotta hit a pause button. Wow. Because this is what this podcast is really hitting on. You know what I'm saying? Is you know, being prepared, getting people prepared to get out of mama's house successfully, and not only get out, but get out there and thrive. So what I'm hearing is possibly that sometimes mama can hold us back.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I think on the outside looking in, I'm not necessarily just talking about your situation, but I'm gonna be honest, that's new. I never heard that from you. But from the outside looking in, I've seen certain people's lives, and I have assumed that. But to hear you say that really helps a lot, because now I don't feel like that assumption isn't judgment. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Wow. Mama holding you back. Man.
And to be clear, like, her holding me back is all based and contingent upon the experiences she had in her life.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, well, Tashawn, it's going to be hard. You know, you need to try to go get governmental assistance. You need to go and try to get help. Wow. You need to go apply for this. You need to go apply for that.
Wow.
You know, and it's like, Mom, I know that those things are, you know, beneficial. They help people, but is this the right way?
Right.
You know, like, not knocking governmental assistance. You know, some people actually need it. You know, that's the way that they survive. That's how they, you know, stay afloat in our economy.
Right.
You know, so I'm not knocking, you know, governmental assistance at all. You know, it was just like, my mom, from her perspective, she was trying to set me up on governmental assistance straight out of the gate.
Wow.
And it's like, could that limit me to a certain level coming out of the house? You know, would I be able to reach my fullest potential if I earned or gained governmental assistance?
Wow.
You know, and a lot of those things is like, you know, I feel like they're, what's the word? I feel like it's just, I hate to say it like this, but it's a poverty mindset.
I got you.
You know, I feel like you could do so much more.
So when you say that's a poverty mindset, are you talking about the governmental, you know, the government programs?
Yeah, the government programs.
Or are you talking about the mindset that your mom was trying to push upon you?
Yeah.
Okay.
The mindset, in a sense, that my mom was trying to push upon me.
Got you.
Not necessarily the governmental programs, because you know, governmental programs, they have requirements.
Right.
You know, you can't make a certain amount of money.
Right.
You know, in order to qualify for those government to assistance. Right. So it's like, do I have to stay at this level, at this bracket, in order to
come closer to the mic? Yeah.
In order to, you know, gain this help?
Right.
Or will I be able to be successful and try to find a job where I can make as much money as I desire, or that I can at least try to work up to?
Wow.
You know, and just do it on my own.
Yeah.
Like, is that possible? possible.
Right.
And it just wasn't presented to me that way.
Ah, got you. And I can see, not, and again, like you said, not judging anyone who may be on governmental assistance or anything. I can see with that mindset how it could, that type of thinking, or maybe that type of thinking, to try to stay on the program. I can understand, because now you're trying to limit how much you're making, limit how much you're bringing into the house. Man, yeah,
it's like
I don't think the governmental programs or food stamps or whatever it may be, I don't see anything wrong with that if you need that temporarily. But absolutely. I really like how you put it. You were saying that's a mindset that you didn't want. Absolutely. Because you didn't want to put a cap on your income or on your potential.
Exactly.
Your earning potential.
Being a college dropout.
That's really good. Yeah.
I was faced with, I drop out of college, so now I need to go sign up for governmental assistance. And now I need to go get a job that may only be paying me $11 an hour so that I can qualify for those governmental assistance.
Right.
And it's like, no, this doesn't have to be the way.
Wow.
Don't choose the easy way.
Wow.
Never.
So this is continuing to show that you like to climb hills, that you like to go against the grain, and I think that's a great way to think, because now at this time you was in school, had a challenging past with mama, not blaming everything on mama, but had a challenging past with mom and now you then went to school, had a baby, back with mama. Now you're trying to get out of with mama.
Yeah.
And you still continuing to climb these hills and these challenges that you are facing upon life. Wow, that's an uphill battle. And I think, even from my perspective of what I'm hearing, is that even any young adult that's out there that may be dealing with some of these same challenges, should be okay with going against the grain, or working harder, or doing what you got to do to make ends meet, or to save to get out of mama's house successfully, get into your own place, learn the things that you need to learn, because you say you didn't know much about credit and things of that nature. Man, that's awesome, Tashawn. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. So so you was in your mom's house. So what did that move out process look like for you? Because it wasn't just you. Now you moving, you and your was she pregnant?
Yeah, she was pregnant.
She was pregnant. So y'all didn't have her until
after we moved.
So what did that hustle or that process or that meant? Let's just talk about that as much as you can share, because I knew there are some other things, but as much as you can share, what did that escape look like?
It was challenging.
Yeah,
it was tough. Yeah. Like, my mind was racing 24/7. Like, I always tell people, the hardest part about adulting is being able to strategize and being able to maintain.
Right.
So with me, in my mind, it was those two thoughts going through my head, and it's like, okay, well, how am I going to strategize? Right. How am I going to maintain? I'm listening to my mom telling me, well, it's going to be hard. Yeah. I don't think you're going to be able to do it. You need to go on these, assistance, governmental assistance to help you so that it's not as hard on you. And then in the other ear, I got my auntie that also helped raise me for, 5-6+ years of my life, telling me, you need to get out your mama house. Why you laid up in your mama house? You need to go get you an apartment. Man. But there's always a but. But I can't come there, Right. So it's like,
So she's coaching you from afar, though.
From afar.
Yeah, she's coaching you from afar. Yeah.
I will tell you that was the best advice.
Wow.
That she could have ever gave me. And sometimes you just gotta have that raw. You gotta have that. Just why you laid up in your mama house?
Yeah, tough love.
Tough love. You know.
You know, this is crazy. This reminds me of the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Wow. Not necessarily from I don't know your mom's financial situation or anything like that, but it definitely reminded me reminds me of the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. That situation. But anyway, I'm sorry, I interrupted. But
nah, you good.
But okay, so continue with the process. So y'all, it was.
Yeah. So
you was getting a tough love from your auntie.
Tough love from my aunt.
Yeah.
And my mom trying to kind of just make sure that we're able to sustain.
Right.
And I kind of had to make a decision.
Yeah.
And what my aunt was telling me was, well, if you get you a place, I'll help you pay, some of the rent.
Right.
So that it's not as hard,
Right.
So maybe half the rent or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
And so I clung to that because I was like, well, mama, she's trying to make sure that it's not too hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then auntie, she's willing to help.
Right.
But she's telling me like, hey, you need to get out and go find a place.
Yeah.
This is life. You can't just sit there until something happens. You got to go make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, that was the best piece of advice.
Wow.
It still was hard. A piece of advice that my aunt gave me, which was also valuable, was find a place, and when you find that place, you go there and you visit that place during the nighttime.
Right.
Different days of the week.
Right.
Just to see if that's really a place that you want to live.
Right.
And I never really took that into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think about all the little details that come with everything that you have to do.
Right.
The mindset, the mental, we had saved, we had probably $10,000 saved up before our daughter came.
Yeah.
And that happened because my girl worked, I worked, and we just saved. We was putting $600 up every 2 weeks.
Right.
Every time we got paid, that was $1,200 a month.
Right.
And that's how we were able to gain that money. But it took a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just to be honest with you, it still wasn't enough.
Oh, right.
$10,000 still wasn't enough.
That money fly. we hear these numbers and we be like, man, that's a lot of money until you get it in your hands.
Exactly.
And you apply it to your life. That's
word. Yeah. And my aunt, she helped us a little bit, but she didn't help how we expected her to.
Yeah.
So it was still me pulling the weight on my own.
Right.
And it was hard.
Right.
It was stressful. It was a lot of, unknown territory that we had to kind of navigate through.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of praying, a lot of depending on faith.
Right.
I've had to make sacrifices, have to go to the plasma center, donate plasma. I don't knock anybody, that's out there trying to make a way.
But that's that hustle though. That's that hustle. That's the fight. That's that fight that you got to do what you got to do.
Yes, sir.
Because what's the other option? You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
Wow.
That's
a lot. Yeah.
It was very uncomfortable, but you gotta go through that uncomfortable, stage in order to reach your fullest potential.
Right.
And I feel like that's key.
Right.
Just because it looks intimidating, just because it looks impossible, just because it feels uncomfortable, doesn't mean it's not for you.
Wow.
It doesn't mean it's not achievable.
Okay, so with all of this stuff being said, kind of almost alluding to what I was saying earlier. So someone that may have had your experiences in life, may have had a kid early or multiple kids early. Before I even say that, sometimes that they can choose the negative path. Oh, and even I'm put this in there too that you said earlier. So they may be at mom's house, but I know sometimes having those challenges And being at mom's house can almost make you, what's the word? Not feel like doing anything. What's the word, Sean? I gotta read that. Oh, stack. There we go. I got it. So, having those challenges that you experienced, sometimes people that may be living at mom's house, having your experiences or whatever, can just be like, I'm going to choose the negative, or I'm just going to get stagnant. No one really says I'm going to get stagnant, but you ain't fighting. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You ain't trying to go nowhere. You just living day to day. That's stagnant. Stagnant. When most people think of stagnant, they think of water that's just sitting.
Yeah.
And if you really know science, water that's just sitting is never a good thing. Water that's just sitting, it starts building bacteria. If it's sitting around a home, it's going to seep into the ground. It can destroy the foundation. Even though it's just sitting there doing nothing. If we sit still, perfect example, if we make the same money today than what we made 10 years ago, you're not just sitting still, you losing. You know what I'm saying? So someone who may be in a stagnant situation, living at their mom's house right now, what would you say to them? What would you say to them?
I would honestly say to that person, ask yourself what you want and what you value in life. Mm-hmm. And then I would go about making certain sacrifices so that you can get on track to gain the things that you want and value in life.
Right.
Those sacrifices could be a list of things. Mm-hmm. It could be, you changing your friend group. It
Right.
could be you taking a break from social media.
Right.
It could be you, cutting certain people off, mm-hmm. or listening to certain music, or mm-hmm. Watching things that you've never watched before.
Right. Wow.
I would tell that person to give themselves a chance.
Wow.
Give yourself a chance. Life is not promised to us.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel like our parents, they should be preparing us how to succeed and navigate life without them, in a sense.
Right.
So if they were to leave today or tomorrow, mm-hmm. we would be able to stay afloat.
Right.
And I feel like those are the conversations you should be having with your children, and that's the kind of conversations your teens or young mm-hmm. adults should be having with their parents.
Right.
Go to your parent and ask them, like, hey, if I choose not to go to college, what else is out there for me?
Right.
And there's a list of things.
Yeah.
There's trades.
Right.
There's cosmetology school.
Right. Right.
There's a lot of different jobs, and you can start out literally at the bottom and work your way up.
Right.
I did it.
Right. Right.
I'm a living witness of that.
Yeah.
But you have to choose yourself.
Right.
You have to choose your life, and you have to want it.
Right.
No matter how uncomfortable it gets, no matter how much grief it may cause with you and your family, if you're in some type of family situation, you have to choose you, mm-hmm. and you have to stay true to yourself. Wow. And actually go out there and get it, because you can dictate the path mm-hmm. that you want. You
wow.
can choose the path that you want.
Wow.
It's achievable.
Yeah.
And it feels so good.
Yeah.
When you work hard.
Yeah.
And when you work from the bottom, from the ground, and work your way up.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
Wow.
To say that I'm 22 years old and, I'm almost getting ready to buy a house, and man. I have 2 children, and,
wow.
I literally went from making $13 an hour as a regular employee to being promoted to assistant general manager.
That's crazy.
Making over $50,000 a year.
That's crazy.
And that's at 22.
At 22 years old.
It's at 22.
And now, mind you, we're in South Carolina.
South Carolina, yeah.
So 50 grand in South Carolina is a lot. Is a lot of money.
It's a good number.
Wow, Tashawn, that is crazy. So you went from all the challenges that you dealt with as a kid, fighting all your life pretty much, literally and figuratively, and then now you getting ready, preparing to get married, 2 kids, assistant general manager of the man over a restaurant. That's crazy. I'm like a lot of people that may not know, I'm actually a chef, so to know like that's a big deal. To say you're a 22-year-old general manager is like, that's crazy. That's crazy. A lot. Wow. But man, that's, the only thing I can say is just like, wow, man. And I am absolutely proud of you, and to be able to see the great things that God is doing in your life is crazy, boy. Yeah, it's crazy to be able to see this 15, 16-year-old kid grow up and go through all the things that you went through, and to see where you are now, man. It's crazy. This is a blessing, man. And so because I knew all that, I'm like, man, I gotta bring this dude on. Like I had to, because I think I would hope that some of his story would encourage someone out there that may be struggling, or that may be in a stagnant situation, that may be in a challenging situation, or whatever that may be. With this story, he came up and he got out, and not just got out. He's thriving. He's succeeding. So absolutely. So this is what we talk about on this show. This is what we desire for more people out there to do. So anything else you got to say, want to throw out there before we?
Don't give up on yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's most important. Choose you.
Yeah.
Choose your happiness. Find stuff that you like, that you enjoy, because this is your life.
Right.
And you only get one life. And no matter how hard, any situation may look, you can persevere through it.
Wow.
And when those stones start to be uncovered and turned, it's a good feeling.
Wow.
It's a feeling that you can't describe.
Yeah.
It's like you want to smile and be happy and emotional all in one setting.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, I'm finally here. And the most important thing is, once you get there, know that there's so many more levels that you can go.
Wow.
So never be content where you are, ever. And know that there's people out there to help you. Just a few. We have Self, which is a credit builder.
Self. Yeah.
I think we
did Self. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
He actually introduced me to
Self.
it, I believe.
Yep.
And what that does is it gives you a secure credit card, and it allows you to save anywhere between $15 and $60 a month out of your check. And it builds it for you for 2 years.
Yep.
Once you reach about a $200 limit, they'll give you a secure credit card for $200.
Right.
But it's your money.
Yeah.
When that 2-year time runs out, they send you a check.
Yep.
With all the money that you've saved over the course of those 2 years, and
it builds your credit.
It builds your credit in the process.
Right.
So I would recommend, Self Lender. It's like a self credit builder app.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for a year and a half. Our term actually ends in February.
Okay. Good.
Also looking into, if you're looking into getting like a place. Look into like income based.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like government based. I'm not knocking government, but you can even look at government. Everybody's situation is different. So if your situation, directs you to go and get governmental assistance, then you do that.
Yeah.
Because that's benefiting you.
Gotcha.
In your situation. It's just important to know that sometimes you gotta level up. Once you get there and you're content, you gotta keep moving. And then I would also say Flex.
Okay.
Flex is an app.
Oh, that's new to me. What's
so it's an app that new rental agencies are using.
Okay.
Like apartments, townhomes.
Yeah.
I actually use it, but it allows you to split your rental payments in half.
Okay. Yeah.
And you pretty much, they'll pay your rent on the first of every month.
Yeah.
And then you pay, you half it up, whatever your installments are.
Wow.
And while paying it, it builds your credit.
Wow.
So
yeah.
rent is a necessity, you know, in a sense. So it's like, why not get credit for something that I'm gonna have to pay anyway?
Right.
You know, and I feel like that could just be beneficial to anyone, but especially young people. And then there's other programs that'll help you build a house, that'll help you find renovated properties.
Yep.
I mean, one of them that we're currently going through is NACA, which is like neighborhood assistant, something. Yeah, we did it too. I think we've been in the house for about 13, 14 years, maybe. Wow.
Yeah, through NACA, and it's a buy down. You could actually buy down your interest rates and things of that nature. We're actually going to have a realtor on. We're interviewing him tomorrow, but I don't know what order we're gonna post this in. So I don't want to lie, but and he should be able to share a lot more information about some of those things as well.
Absolutely.
So no, those are great tools, man. So you said Flex. So you threw out Flex. You threw out Self Lender. And of course NACA. So I'm gonna try to see if I can put those in the show notes, so that we can use those tools and have access to them as well.
Yeah.
So man, I appreciate you, boy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you brought some powerful stuff, man, and of course your life continues to bless other people.
Absolutely.
And you continue to be a light. So we see you. And we appreciate you, man.
Absolutely.
So, but I'm gonna have to bring you back again, so we can, because I know. we tried to pack some stuff in, but he got so much more in him.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Thank y'all so much for watching, listening. Hey, y'all have a great day. That was good, bro.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was good. You did a good job, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's gonna be an easy edit, because I'm talking about like we went pretty much like straight through.
Oh yeah.